Joining us is Guy Benson, political editor at townhall.com and host of the Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio, and one of the smartest political minds, I might add. Welcome, Guy. Tell us what you make of what happened Tuesday.
Well, Trey, I think there's a temptation to perhaps overanalyze what happened on one night in an off-year election. And I've heard this argument from a lot of Republicans saying, oh, well, these were all blue places, right? New York City, New Jersey, Virginia, these are not red states, barely purple in some of these cases. So should we really overinterpret what that's going to mean moving forward in 26 or 28 based on just those three states? And the answer that some Republicans conclude is no. And I think that's true to an extent, but I also think there's a risk, as you just mentioned in the monologue, of sort of underanalyzing what happened or just completely blowing it off. We saw 4 years ago the Republicans make double-digit gains in both Virginia and New Jersey, resulting in a victory for Glenn Youngkin and a very close call for Jack Ciattarelli, who almost won in New Jersey 4 years ago. And we saw a massive swing back in the other direction this past Tuesday. Some of that's history, right? Sometimes, almost always, as a matter of fact, in those two states, voters move against the party in power in Washington, D.C. Whoever's won the White House, those voters say we want to check, and they go the other direction. So it was already going to be an uphill climb, I think, for Republicans in 2025 for that reason. But looking at some of the coalitions that Trump was able to build in 2024, resulting in him sweeping the swing states and winning the popular vote and attaining the presidency for the second time, some of that started to erode or crumble for Republicans as a number of those voters went back in the other direction to Democrats because they're not satisfied, I think, especially on the economy so far, and because Democrats simply were much more motivated to turn out and participate. And with Trump not on the ballot, again, we have seen many Republican voters and right-leaning people saying, well, he's in charge, we got this, it'll be okay, it doesn't matter as much. And that is a recipe for tons of Democratic victories in off-year elections, in special elections, and potentially in midterm elections.
You know, Guy, you put your finger on something, as you are apt to do. Virginia is purple at best. New Jersey is blue. It is not losing that caught my attention. It was the margin of the loss, and then losing two statewide races in Georgia where, if memory serves, there's a really important Senate race along with the midterms. That's what got my attention, the margin of the loss.
Totally. I mean, you look in Virginia, where I think if Winsome Sears had kept it within maybe 9 points or something, a single-digit loss, even high single digits, probably Jay Jones loses and Jason Miyares pulls it out. But she didn't. It was a 15-point blowout in Virginia. That is a dramatic swing away from Youngkin's victory margin of about 3 points in 2021, or even Trump losing by just 6 points in Virginia last year, right? 6-point loss, doable. 15-point loss, and there's just wreckage down ballot. And then in New Jersey, I think Ciattarelli ran an aggressive and good campaign. I think that he was energetic and he worked very hard and was appealing in a lot of ways, but still, based on those coalitions that I mentioned and who actually turned out and participated, he got clobbered. He lost by 13 points, a pretty decent candidate there. So definitely some warning signs ahead for the Republican Party. The Democrats have their problems too. Don't get me wrong. You know, Mamdani's rise in New York, I think, is going to be hung around their neck by Republicans for years to come. There's an internal war within the Democrats about where they go as a party. But I think simply sitting back and saying they're going to have a civil war, their left-wing radicals are on the rise, they're too crazy to win, I don't think that's going to be good enough for Republicans to sit back on their laurels and assume, oh, we can't really lose to these people, can we? They sure can, as we saw on Tuesday night, and Republicans have to spend the next 6 months obsessing over how to make sure 2025 was not a preview of 2026.
Guy Benson, correct as he is wont to be. Don't underanalyze, don't overanalyze, have an accurate autopsy, and then move on from there. Autopsy might not be the right metaphor because I think you're dead if you're having an autopsy, but you know what I mean. Guy Benson, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.